New information tonight directly from the acting director of Michigan's Unemployment Insurance Agency.
She spoke with me for nearly 20 minutes going over ID verification, fraud, and why people are being asked to send in their documents over and over.
Our motto is, if a claimant is eligible for benefits, then we pay them their benefits.
Lisa Estlin Olson sat down with Fox 17 this week to talk about the enormous volume of claims the agency's dealing with. More than 86 times the total amount in all of 2019, 50,000 then compared to more than 4 million now, an increase of 8,600%.
That's just a huge volume for an agency that, for everything we do in terms of the employer side and the claimant side, we only had 650 people. And so now we have almost 3,000 people, and we're able to, keep moving forward. That doesn't mean that we have all of the work done, but we are significantly closer to paying almost everybody who has a claim in the system.
Frustrated claimants contact the Fox 17 problem solvers every day. They cannot get their issues solved. Some have waited months, if not a year, and they're constantly told to wait and to just keep uploading their documents.
Genuine IDs that are legible. Some people tell me they've sent them over and over, they've mailed them over and over, they've faxed them over and over, and yet they're told to send them again. Why is that happening?
I would have to check into that. I don't know why would we be requiring, my understanding is we're only supposed to be asking if we look at it and we can tell that it is not legible. So I would have to check into that.
Thousands are waiting to be paid. A lot of them may not be eligible. Others are, but they're held up by red tape or glitches in the system, and they don't get their money until Fox 17 gets involved.
I can't get anyone to tell me what I need to do.
Then they turn to the Fox 17 problem solvers.
I literally checked my bank account and just cried. It's finally over after 4 months. We're just so thankful.
When they can't get their issue solved on their own, but the news can, what does that say? And do you think the state has any responsibility in some of these people losing things?
We are doing the best we can. Obviously, you get to work on one claim at a time. We don't. We have to work on all the claims that come in. And every week we have 10,000 plus more claims coming in. We have to work those. We have to work the ones that are currently in progress. We have to work all the fraud claims. We have multiple sets of fraud claims. We have people who have been victims of identity theft that we have to work, but we also have people who are working and collecting, and that we're dealing with that fraud as well. So, we have a lot of work to do, and we clearly are trying to get to everybody as quickly as we can.
To handle the workload, the agency is now requiring mandatory overtime. A big complaint into our newsroom: why are unqualified workers providing different answers every time somebody calls in with a question?
And as you can imagine, keeping people on the phones is difficult when people are yelling at them every day and calling them horrible names and stuff like that. So we do have some turnover in that area, which then requires us to continue to hire new people. I also think there are people out there who answer shop, and so they didn't like the answer they were given the first time, so they call back and try to get somebody to tell them a different answer.
Proof of income for pandemic assistance was something the federal government left up to the states. Michigan allowed people to just say they lost work without proof, but that's all starting to change now that the Continued Assistance Act is law.
You have to show attachment to the workforce. You have to provide identity verification. You have to show wages, which was not the case in the beginning, but they have retroactively indicated that we have to look at those issues.
Claimants are also concerned about their IDs and Social Security information. If there's known fraud, including internally, how safe is that information when random workers open it up at home?
Everybody who works for us has had a background check. Everybody who works for us signs a confidentiality agreement indicating that they will keep the information that they receive confidential. But our workers know and understand that we have access to people's most personal information. There's never been a data breach for the state of Michigan's information. So there's not a problem with people being able to upload their information into our secure system.
But they want to do it in person. The agency has several offices around the state, but they're still shut down due to COVID and safety protocols, including the only one in Grand Rapids. Lisa tells me while they're working on a video chat option for claimants, offices will remain shut down for now.
As soon as we can, and we have to look at the safety. We have had a Michigan Works staff person who was beaten up by a claimant, and the person had nothing to do with UI, but the claimant was that mad. We've had somebody break down the door in the Grand Rapids office and attack the person who was in that office that had nothing to do with UI. I mean, we have a lot of work to do, and we clearly are trying to get to everybody as quickly as we can.
I talked with the director for more than 17 minutes. We discussed everything from mail that's being sent into the agency, the P.O. boxes, are they answering that? Also stopping the seeking work waiver and the money in the trust fund that is earning interest while people wait for payments. You can watch the full interview right now at fox17online.com. And whether it's unemployment or another issue you'd like us to look into, you can send an email to problemsolvers@fox17online.com. You can also join our Facebook group or call the number right there on your screen.